Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Wednesday, May 13th. Nope, May 11th, 2016. I'm your host, Alexander Kalafi, going right past that faux pas, joined by my co-host, Donald Terrio this week.
This is what happens when you work from home for 2 days. Everything happens.
Yes, this was a surprisingly enormous 2 days for news, which we will get into in a second. Our other co-host this week is a very special guest. Hasn't been on Nintendo News Report for something like a year now, but he's making his grand triumphant return. Player One Podcast's very own Christopher C.J. Johnston. Hello.
Hey, Alex. Thanks for having me on again. This is great. You remember last time I was on, predicted that the Nintendo Direct was going to be on April 1st last year, and it was.
There you go. It's if the Nostradamus of Nintendo, Christopher C.J. Johnston.
Right.
Adult Swim Games' very own Nostradamus of Nintendo.
That's right.
So I actually saw you recently, CJ, if you don't remember. I saw you at one Penny Arcade Expo East in Boston, Massachusetts.
It was a lot of fun.
You were pushing the video game known as Headlander.
Yes, coming this summer to PlayStation 4 and PC.
Sick. Very sick.
Yes.
So, lots of news this week. We should actually start talking about it because there are quite a few stories. But the biggest story is Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. It got its first actual trailer despite being announced 2 months ago. Because when the Pokemon Direct happened in late February, early March, Donald?
February 26th here, 27th.
Oh, there we go, because of the Pokemon anniversary. They announced the game's name, but the only footage was a bunch of directors working on it, or a bunch of game designers working on it, alongside some concept art. So now we know a lot. We know that the game is coming out on November 18th in North America and Japan, November 23rd in Europe.
Yep. See, a lot of retailers in Europe broke street date on Pokemon X and Y, and the Pokemon Company never forgets.
Yeah, it's been bad. Okay, so inside-ish baseball. When Pokemon X and Y came out, some people really broke street date in North America, and some people leaked content early. There were a lot of streams. Donald, you probably remember how fucked up everything got.
Yeah, I can't believe that I knew pretty much everything about the game 3 days before I got it.
Yes, and as the reviewer for Pokemon X, I ended up getting the game 2 weeks early. As the reviewer for Pokemon Omega Ruby, I think I got it the night it came out. And that was a code. Like, originally we got a physical copy. Nintendo changed it for the next game, and I got a code this time. So it's they've been tightening down. But anyways, the region is called Alola.
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 So that sort of sets the stage where we're going. We're hitting Hawaii, folks.
Are you sure, Donald? I don't know.
The professor is named after a Hawaiian tree, and you start in an island. It is basically a dead ringer for Oahu. We're going to Hawaii.
Now they did show that map, or they showed like an island. Do we think there are going to be multiple islands, almost like a Sevi Island deal, but the entire region?
More than likely. The only question is, I'm not sure where they would put a league, or if they're going to be going to another continent.
Right.
What about like an underwater city? Yeah.
Like Atlantis.
Actually, I hope there's not a whole lot of swimming and navigating waterways in this one. Some previous Pokemon that shall not be named had way too much of that, and I didn't like it. So
I couldn't possibly know which one you're talking about, CJ.
not at all.
Well, actually, like the best game in the series, but like whatever. We don't have to have that fight
No,
right
it's
now.
not though. And that's X and Y. Come on.
CJ, we're not gonna.
We're not going to have that. That debate is for another time.
And we can have it right now. We don't have that much news.
This is the news report, not the debate Pokemon entries report.
All I'm saying is that if we were going to have that argument, I might say that EXP Share completely destroyed any sense of difficulty the series has ever had.
Exactly, and that's why I love it. Yes.
Look at you, CJ.
I'm giving this show so far a 7.8.
7.8. It's I'm actually going to start reading the chat very soon, so I can actually see what kind of scores they would give this show so far. But anyways, there's more news. They also revealed the starters for Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon, along with the box legendaries. The starters are called Rowlet, which is a flying grass-type owl, Litten, which is the Lit Kitten. He is strictly fire type, and Poplio, which is like a sea otter water type Pokemon. Interesting thing about this is that although the designs weren't leaked themselves previously to the announcement, what the creatures was leaked. Like, we knew it was an owl, we knew it was a cat, and we knew it was like a sea lion otter type Pokemon. Donald, I'm not making that up. You may have also heard that too, right?
I didn't, but I haven't been going to those places as of late.
Okay, so I use 4chan's VP board, their Pokemon board, whenever I want to see like what people are saying about Pokemon, because it's a whole dense board dedicated to Pokemon, and I saw some approximation of a sea lion and some approximation of a grass owl beforehand. So this thing might have leaked out. Anyways, more importantly, this is the thing that we know definitely exists. Litten is one of the best designed starters this series has ever had.
The concept of shooting a flaming hairball as an offensive move, that is so disturbing it wraps around to being awesome. But yeah, this is a really good set of starters.
Yeah.
I'm even starting to fall in love a bit with Poplio.
There's nothing wrong with Poplio. I think Poplio's the second best one after Litten. It looks weird and it looks cool to me in the same way Sock looked cool to me as a Pokemon. Like it looks very un-Pokemon-like, but it still has that same charm.
What are you talking? No love for Rowlet? I mean, come on. He's flying and grass type. That's perfect.
And,
so that's
he's wearing a bow tie too.
That's so good.
Actually, they're all pretty good. I would actually say, like, if you look at the actual starters that go back all 7 generations, there's always a clear weakness or a clear one that you're like, ew, like Turtwig just looks like a worse Bulbasaur. Like, and then you look at like everyone but Froakie last generation, and then you look at what's it called? Like, Chikorita is not a great starter. But this seems like it might be the best set of 3 starters that a Pokemon game has ever had, if we take away all nostalgia.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Except for Poplio. He's totally clown shoes.
I like his nose. He has a cute pink nose.
Yeah.
And if he turns into a clown, well, I don't think there's ever been something like that before in a Pokemon game. So
what'll make me so upset is if either the cat or or Poplio becomes like bipedal by its 3rd evolution.
What I always like about the starters is they're so cute, and then their evolved forms are personally, I think some of the evolved forms in prior Pokemon have been rather ugly.
Yes, pretty much both of the ones that weren't Greninja look kind of awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy who looks at these things as a means to an end, the end being the final form. So I think Poplio actually might have the most potential out of them, but we'll see. I just don't want Litten to make Houndour and Houndoom obsolete because they're one of the few good Gen 2 Pokemon that there are.
Yes, I agree. You know, I'm actually watching this Japanese trailer for the first time because I saw the worldwide trailer that we all saw, but there was also a secondary trailer that revealed some more info about what the game actually looks like. And 2 things stand out to me. One, the graphic, there's not really a big graphical jump, but the characters look a lot different now. Where, you know how, like, New Leaf, like, the characters became, like, actually proportional humans almost? That's what this game is doing. Like, all of the Pokemon humans look like actual humans, and the game looks a lot more like a 3D RPG than X and Y did, to the point where I'm pretty sure the grid is almost completely removed from this game.
Yeah, they've pulled the camera down big time that you see, as you'll see in the Japanese action scenes, and yeah, I think they've done away with the grid, which
Yeah.
that alone is going to be a big change for how the series runs.
In all fairness, the grid was 90% gone in X and Y. Like people were like, they were like, it's 16 directions, but the grid was almost always completely undetectable. Anyways, I think it's cool that they're making the console Pokemon game we all want just on consoles this time, or just not on consoles.
Right. It was always going to get there at some point, right? I mean, but one of the things that's so important about Pokemon is being able to travel with it and play against friends, just like this Japanese commercial is showing. And I mean, that's why they've just never done a full-fledged console Pokemon. But now they're able to actually push the graphics where it looks like, console quality. I like it.
Yeah, some people compared it to like Coliseum, which that for the 3DS that's really good, and it'll be interesting to see where they take it with the first games on the next handheld. But we won't see that for probably 3 or 4 years anyway.
Yeah. The game looks cool so far. I mean, it looks like the jump from Diamond, Pearl, Platinum to Black and White. Like, it looks like that level of quality jump, which... And I'm a big fan of Black and White. I think they're among the best Pokemon games. I don't know. The game seems cool so far. Also, we didn't talk about the box legendaries. It's like Lunala. Well, they haven't announced the titles officially yet, or the names officially yet. But it's Lunala, and which is the bat, and what's the other one?
Solageo, I think is the name I keep seeing for it. It looks like it's basically Pyroar from the last game. Got a real level of badass.
It looks like Pyroar should have looked in the last game. It's the first lion Pokemon that feels like a lion Pokemon. See, one of the things I was super excited about way back in Pokemon X and Y was what's the name of the little lion again? Litleo.
Litleo.
Yes, he was my favorite design from that game outside of Halucha, and I was so excited to like how that guy would evolve. And then Pyroar kind of sucks. So like seeing an actual lion Pokemon that's a real ass lion, even if it looks kind of like a Zoid, like I'm still kind of into it. And then you also got the sinister looking bat for Pokemon Moon. I am leaning towards Sun right now. I don't know about you boys.
I'm going Moon.
I don't have enough information to make a decision yet because I'm going to end up with both of them at some point anyway, just because between my roommate and me, I kind of think I kind of like being able to move stuff around, try different versions, different teams. So I kind of like having both games around.
Is it wrong that I buy solely on box art and what looks coolest?
I do it too. I think that's the right... Well, it's kind of like saying in Smash playing items or no items. There's no technical correct way. But I agree with you, CJ. Like, even as someone who loves the hell out of Pokemon, it's my favorite series, I think the best way to get the most enjoyment out of a Pokemon game is to play it the same way I would have when I was 10 years old. Yep. Like, look at what looks cool, look at the creature designs I identify with, have a great time in the single-player RPG, and then worry about all the numbers crap after I actually beat the game if I'm going to at all.
There you go.
Treat it like a JRPG.
Although, Alex, if we both somehow end up reviewing this game, we're going to need to find somebody to get the third starter because I kind of want all three.
And why wouldn't we be the two people reviewing that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pokemon Sun and Moon, exciting stuff. I hope this trickle of information is going to remain a trickle of information, and they don't do the thing they've been doing for the last few Pokemon games, and revealing everything in the games before the games actually come out. Like, I think 40 or 50 of, like, the 70 Pokemon in X and Y were revealed by the time the games actually came out, which I don't like. Anyways, that's that story. Let's move on to Minecraft. But this one's going to be very quick because there are way more interesting stories. But this is kind of an interesting one. Minecraft physical release date. The physical version of Minecraft Wii U is coming out May 17th. And it can
June 17th, because everything on Wii U comes out in June.
Oh, June 17th. But May 17th is the update to the game, which is bringing the Super Mario Pack, which includes some models and music and character skins from the Mario series. Models from Mario World and Sunshine, music from 64, and various character skins. It looks like they have like an entire Mario-generated world you can get from this. Or at least that's what it looks like, Donald, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what they showed, is you can basically make your own Mario levels in Minecraft.
Right,
So.
and between Nintendo doing their Vans thing, between all their expansions, Nintendo is trying to dip their IP wick in as many cups as possible.
This should have been what they launched Minecraft on Wii U with initially.
Yeah.
Like, they should have had this Mario stuff ready to go with the digital release.
Phil Spencer actually tweeted about this, which was interesting. One of the Xbox head guys, he was basically saying, like, it's cool to be able to partner with Nintendo and do stuff like this, which makes me wonder how feasible it would be. And CJ, as an expert on multi-platform video gaming, I will ask your opinion on this. What do you think about the idea of Nintendo attempting to put not Mario games, but Mario-themed DLC on other platforms, just to get the branding? Not that they would ever do it, they definitely wouldn't, but would it be a bad idea?
On their own platforms, they'll do it. They won't do it on any other platform, no. Just like you wouldn't see Microsoft put the low Master Chief stuff in Minecraft Wii U, and watch. I'll be totally wrong about that. Microsoft will have done that, but I just don't see them doing that. Yeah.
Do you think it would, disregarding the fact that it will never happen, because we agree it'll never happen. It will never happen. Do you think it would be a good idea for them to do it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Why is that, CJ?
I don't know.
Because I don't even necessarily disagree with you. I'm just challenging that opinion and seeing what your reasoning is.
Well, the whole point of Nintendo, developing their own consoles and having their stuff is that you buy their hardware to get at their characters. So if you can do that on if you can get Mario DLC on other platforms, it's more likely that you're going to stick to those platforms and get your Mario fix that way than, say, buying a NX next year to play the new Mario game.
Right. So you think there's a danger of Nintendo giving too good content, and then people are going to be like, oh, I already got my Mario fix here.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how...
Oh, I can play Mario in Minecraft on Xbox One. Why do I want to buy a Wii U or an NX? Or it's just the first domino. If we all don't buy the NX, then Nintendo will just have to put the rest of their games on.
I agree.
Competing platforms.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like there's content Nintendo fans will never see in Minecraft already, because you can buy Skyrim and Mass Effect packs in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're a platform holder, you've got to keep that content to yourself.
Yeah,
that's good. Do we know if Minecraft on Wii U is actually good?
My roommate has gotten quite addicted to it, actually.
That's good.
It's still a bit crashy, so I'm hoping that this update fixes that, but it runs like any version of Minecraft, for better or worse.
Ooh, Andy Gergen reviewed Minecraft Wii U edition, and he gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Pros, endless exploration, fantastic music, online multiplayer. Cons limited map, which I'm guessing is just like all the other console versions of the game, and no touchscreen integration, which is crazy.
Yeah, the map size is similar to what you would see on PS3 or 360, but Xbox One, PS4, and PC have far larger maps.
Okay, and then Vita's probably in line with that too.
Vita is probably closer to the mobile version, but yeah.
It's well, okay. Interesting thing about the Vita version of that game was that even though the map is probably pretty small, it was based on the PS3 360 versions of that game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because like they made that was cross-buy. Like I actually have Minecraft on my account for Vita because my brother bought the PS3 version and couldn't use the code.
It's definitely better than whatever the mobile version of that game is. I just don't know how much better. Anything else? Ready to move on? It seems like that silence is telling me, "Hey, Alex, what's the next news story?"
Yeah.
Here's something. Disney cancels Disney Infinity, and Disney exits game publishing, which was a crazy ass story to see in the middle of the day, which I think was during a financial call yesterday. Disney announced that they were discontinuing their self-published console games business, mainly Infinity, or principally Infinity. Originally, a few months ago, they announced that we're not going to do Disney Infinity 4.0 this year. We're just going to put out some play sets, and then we'll see how it goes. But that almost seemed like they kind of knew it was going this way a few months ago, especially seeing this news now that Disney Infinity is no longer, and Disney is exiting the console business. They will allow their properties to be turned into video games by other publishers, but they won't publish a game themselves. Now, this reminds me, I'm going to connect this to something very morbid when I say this, but this reminds me of when Satoru Iwata said he wasn't coming to E3 2015. And then you were just like, maybe he's like still sick, whatever that means, or maybe he's busy doing Nintendo stuff. And then a few months later, this happens, and you're like, oh, wait, that isn't what was happening at all. Actually, it was much darker than that. And Disney Infinity's gone.
I think the darker thing did happen, right? I mean, not only Disney Infinity getting canceled, it's Disney itself exiting the video game business entirely and reverting back to I think this is what they used to do, just licensed out their stuff to other publishers. At one point, I think it was right before Infinity came out, they made a big announcement how they were bringing everything in-house, and now that they're completely reversing that due to clearly Infinity's failure.
Did it fail? Do we know that it actually failed?
It seemed to be it was a good business for Disney. The problem is Disney doesn't deal in good business. They deal in making all of the money. Like the charge they took for closing down Infinity and folding a studio of 200 employees was about $140 million, which they made in 2 days of Star Wars in December. So if it's not going to make billions upon billions of dollars, Disney doesn't want to deal with it. And unfortunately, that leads to situations like Avalanche Studios, which had, like I said, 200 employees shutting down, and all the work that they had planned for the rest of the year with Infinity just being thrown out because, well, it's not pulling in the kind of money that Disney deals with anymore.
That's also fair to say because Disney Infinity, they've already done their Disney characters. They've already put out the Mickey Mouse figurines. They've already done both Marvel and Star Wars games. However well Disney Infinity is done, they've peaked. There is nothing they can do, realistically, that will make this franchise bigger than it already got. So I think they saw the numbers. They realistically said, here's what we can expect to make. Is it worth it? Not really. And then they got out probably at the right time.
Mm.
I think this is. I guess I'll pose the question to you. Do you think this is the what does this mean for Toys to Life and Amiibo?
I think for Amiibo, it means I see a lot of Amiibo on my Best Buy shelves, and I can't tell whether it's because they're not selling or because Nintendo's really good at making them.
I think Amiibo actually is going to be fine because as far as the Toys to Life part of it goes, Nintendo has said repeatedly that they're really struggling with that to make the Amiibo useful in games. But I bought 4 Amiibo. I pre-ordered 4 Amiibo today because it's the Kirby line, and this is the first chance that I've had to actually, aside from a bit at launch when the Kirby Amiibo was common, that I've been able to buy merchandise with Meta Knight, DDD, and Waddle Dee. Like, I'd say 2/3 of the Amiibo that I own or will own by mid-June is not a, hey, I can use this in a game thing. It's a, oh my god, there's actual merchandise of Lucas, and his game has not come out in North America yet.
Exactly. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So as far as Toys to Life, I mean, that is sort of sunsetting. The fact that we had Skylanders with Amiibo, Disney Infinity, and Lego Dimensions last year, that really tossed things up in the air. I honestly think that Skylanders will be fine just because there is a really popular core game there, and all the figures that you've bought over the years still work with them. But I could easily see Warner exiting with Lego just because, well, Warner tries to swing in the same ballpark that Disney does.
Yeah.
So if they see Disney pulling out, they might be a little more reticent to keep going with Lego Dimensions. Like, we haven't had an announcement of a new Lego Dimensions game for this year, and I know they've announced another wave of play sets for that, but that might be the last one we see for a while.
Interesting thing for Lego Dimensions, because I agreed with you, because I was wondering, like, what's Lego Dimensions doing right now? Lego Dimensions, at least in its first week, was surpassed Disney Infinity 3.0 and Skylanders Supercharger. I know for a fact that people are interested in still getting Lego Dimension stuff. I just bet it's not at the same scale as Skylanders or even Amiibo. And it just, this Toys to Life thing, it's given me some real big vibes to the plastic instrument.
It's worse than that, actually. I mean, you go to Toys R Us. I was at a Toys R Us last weekend, and there were 2 aisles of Toys to Life stuff. And of course, like, this past weekend they had like a buy one get one 50% off sale. Like, they always seem to be on sale too. So I don't know how well they're selling, but stores have a lot of inventory of this stuff. I think Nintendo has been a little bit better than Disney or WB in terms of keeping inventory down. There's still a lot of characters that you can't find on store shelves. But like with Disney Infinity, I entered that with 3.0, and the problem with that was that it's not a platform. Like, the figures that they made for 1.0 and 2.0, which they're still selling, are useless in 3.0.
Wait,
like
the figures are useless, or the play sets are useless?
Well, both. I mean, you can use the figures in,
the toy box mode,
the toy
right?
box. Yeah, in the toy box mode, but that's not the fun. That's not really the fun of it, right? And it would have been much better if they had allowed you to, bring the Inside Out characters into the Star Wars universe or something like that, like where it really felt like you could do anything you wanted to within this universe, and you really can't. So,
Avalanche Studios is the game development studio that closed down as a result of this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be confused with the guys who made Just Cause 3. They're
No, that's
different.
It's Avalanche Software is the one I was thinking of. Avalanche Studios made Mad Max and whatever. The reason why I'm wondering is because, okay, it's so crazy, like, actually looking on the Wikipedia pages, the crazy story that a lot of these Toys to Life games actually have, like, in coming to reality. For instance, Disney Infinity, rest in peace, like, started as a fully expanded mode in the Toy Story 3 video game.
Yep.
Like, Toy Story 3 was where that toy box thing came from, also made by Avalanche, and then this game perfected it, which became this whole giant thing. And don't forget, Skylanders Spyro's Adventure was the first game in the series.
Yeah.
This started as a Spyro spin-off.
That's right.
Like, nowadays, like, I don't think anyone thinks about Spyros when they think about Skylanders. I don't even know if they make any Spyro figures anymore, and they're still making Cinder figures, which is like the weird Spyro equivalent that's in the Skylanders brand.
Yeah, but what it boils down to for Disney is that the day before they had their call, EA had their call for their financials for the year, and Star Wars Battlefront made or sold 14 million copies in this last fiscal year for EA. I almost think that Disney probably made more money from that than they did Infinity, and for 1/1000th of the effort.
Yeah, and almost no risk too. Probably.
Yeah. EA bore all that risk, and well, it seemed to pay off for them. So we're going to get a Battlefront 2 next year.
Spyro series. And so I'm now on the Spyro series Wikipedia page.
I can't wait for about 5 or 6 years from now when we get the video footage or screenshots of the play sets for Disney Infinity that we will never see, like the Rogue One sets, or like, because they were probably working on things that are coming like later in the year that we're just never going to see or hear about.
Like Unseen 64. Like
exactly. Unseen 64 is going to do 5 years from now.
They're going to be making bank off those, but yeah, they announced that Rogue One was canceled. Basically, everything after end of June that was probably already in the can they're going to ship that out, and that's going to be it. Yeah,
the last thing is a Finding Dory playset, I think, right?
A fitting way to end the franchise.
Mm.
No, not even close, CJ. Not even close. That's Disney Infinity, I guess. Like forever. And then I'm going to close that tab forever. Speaking of Disney, though, Disney Magical World 2 is coming to North America later this year. The first one was fantastic. October 14th, North America Disney Magical World 2. New worlds for exploration, including one based on Frozen. Disney Magical World, I don't know if either of you played it. That is a fantastic, weird Animal Crossing-esque, but also like Kingdom Heartsy, like customization, like grindy, Harvest Moon-y type game that I'm guessing like it sold a lot of copies, like especially among kids, but like among like this kind of crowd, I don't think that game got enough love.
Yeah, I didn't play it at all, but I don't really have a lot of interest in those kind of games. I think I tried Animal Crossing New Leaf, and it was just not for me. So I kind of tend to avoid those. I'm not much of a Disney fan either. So.
What about you, CJ?
I didn't play that, but I might be interested in the sequel because my daughter is starting to play games on 3DS now, and I'm sure she would be into it. She's into Animal Crossing, which just amounts to wandering around the town and digging up holes all over my city. But she's only 4, so it's excusable.
Right. Yeah, so I recommend. I wonder what that game's going for on Amazon right now. But Disney Magical World 2 is coming to North America in October. The other thing that Nintendo sneakily announced alongside the 2DS price drop to $79 is the third Style Savvy game, coming out as Style Savvy Fashion Forward on August 19th, the same day as Metroid Prime Federation Force, making for like a Super Mario 3D world, and then a Zelda Link Between Worlds kind of situation.
Which one do I buy?
I know, I'm just going to have to get both.
Hey, that's right after my birthday. I'll have some extra cash, so I might get both.
This is like when The Wonderful 101 and GTA 5 released within 2 days of each other, except both games are The Wonderful 101.
Yeah.
20,000 pieces of clothing, real-life fashion advice, and support for every female amiibo in the Nintendo lineup. I wonder if I have any women in my... It's a huge sausage fest over in my amiibo collection.
No Princess Peach? No Princess Zelda?
No.
Samus?
Are the Pokemon gendered?
Maybe you might get away with Jigglypuff, but I don't think so. I think that's a male Pikachu, for instance.
Yeah.
And Mewtwo doesn't have a gender.
Oh, okay. Do we know if it's a male or female Pikachu?
It's a male. It's got the lightning bolt tail instead of the heart one.
I love how quickly you knew that, Donald. That's my favorite thing.
It's been beaten into my head from X and Y.
But let me ask you guys about Style Savvy, though. Have you guys played the other one on 3DS? And if you have, should I buy it?
I haven't, but I think I might be in for this one just to see the amiibo stuff, because I think I do have access to most of the female amiibo, except for Isabelle. But really, I can probably find that for $3 when it comes out anyway.
Oh, and what about you, CJ? This game, the predecessor, did come up on your show in some capacity, if I remember correctly.
It did, because Mike Phillips played it with his daughters. He actually said that it was a really, really good game. So that makes this interesting. I don't know if I'm not sure if my daughter would be interested in this just yet, but yeah, it looks cool.
It's and you haven't played, nor has your daughter played the previous one. Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, Style Savvy costs. I just Amazon Style Savvy is $22.95, which is actually still more expensive than you would think it is or should be.
Well, Nintendo games
keep their value.
Does this count?
Unless you're talking about Codename Steam, and then it doesn't.
Or Chibi Robo.
or Amiibo Festival. In Canada right now, if you get the pack and consider that Amiibos are like $16 here, you're getting the game for a penny.
Codename Steam, $15.98. Disney Magical World.
Codename Steam has frequently been less than that, though. I've seen
it's been like $10 a couple times, right?
Yeah.
And I think I saw people getting the Chibi Robo bundle for $11 here.
Chibi Robo is like $20 at GameStop, which is crazy. Chibi Robo Ziplash also $15.
Such a cool amiibo, though. It's one of my favorite amiibos.
Yeah.
Is Chibi Robo a girl?
No.
Okay, good to know. How do you know, though?
I don't know.
They always use masculine pronouns when talking to him in the games.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's such a good answer, Donald.
I like that answer. I'm taking that answer as my answer.
Amiibo Festival, and then this is the last one on Amazon. $31 in North American bucks. So there you have it. Okay, and then there's that, and then one of our last stories, Phoenix Wright, Spirit of Justice, is coming out in September. Here's what was interesting about this one, is that the title of this game was originally found in the game data of the Japanese version. Was that it?
Yeah, they did some data mining like they did with that big VC leak from last year and found the reference to Spirit of Justice, and then Capcom put the announcement out today. So
they probably did it directly in response to that.
Could be, yeah, but I'm just impressed that they're turning this around as quickly as they are, because this game comes out in Japan in about a month from now.
Yeah, June 9th.
June 9th, and it's be out in September here, so that's 3 months. I don't know. Is that enough time for them to get Great Ace Attorney out by, I don't know, this time next year?
Great Ace Attorney is going to meet the same fate as those weird ancient Japan Yakuza spin-offs, in which all the fans are really going to want it to come out, but it's not a smart decision for them to put it out unless they do a super cheap and dirty localization job on it, which I don't think Capcom is ready to do, Although now that I remember the localization of Dual Destinies, I wonder.
Hmm. Well,
Oh,
I think part of that is the writing, because I mean, the Great Ace Attorney and Ace Attorney Investigations 2 were done by the main Phoenix Wright writer Shu Takumi, but the mainline games have moved to a different team.
oh, so this is not written by Mr. Takumi.
No.
Okay. So that is not positive. The other thing that is not so positive is that this is going to be a digital-only release
Yeah,
on the
and
3DS eShop. $30.
well, I mean, every Phoenix Wright game on 3DS that has come out in the West has been a digital-only release. So I would hope at this point the fans are used to it, and
Every 3DS one.
yeah, every 3DS one.
Okay. Yep.
Like, well, which is Dual Destinies and the Trilogy. And by the way, both those games are on sale right now in North America, and they're going on sale in Europe tomorrow.
It's $14.99 for Dual Destinies, $19.99 for the Trilogy, right?
$17.99. So you're basically getting each of the first 3 games for $6.
Let me tell you, the original Ace Attorney Trilogy, if you have the time, if you're on like summer break or something, that's one of the best trilogies, especially of visual novels, maybe of all time. Like, it's those games don't get the love they deserve. The fact that this is like a lawyer simulator, and that it's as funny as it is, that it's engaging as it is, that the mysteries are as good as they are, and that like the 5th case from the original game, next fucking level. So if you have the means to get these games, get all of them, because they're all fantastic.
I just like that Capcom is sticking with it and releasing this one in, outside Japan, and maybe that hints that when the NX comes out, they'll continue doing Phoenix Wright games for that too in territories outside Japan. I don't know. This is good. This is really great news, even if it's digital only. I mean, at least it's coming out.
Yes, that's totally fair. And then another thing, Donald, I'm sure you're going to be able to confirm for me. Didn't Dual Destinies actually do super well for Capcom as a digital-only game?
Yeah, Capcom said they were extremely happy with the game's Western sales, even accounting for the fact that it was digital only, which sort of confirms to me that the people who are physical or bust were sort of a pretty small minority here.
Or they bought it anyways because it's still new Phoenix Wright content. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are groups like Limited Run Games that are they're getting stuff like Zeo Drifter out in very, as I said, limited quantities, like a couple thousand print runs. But maybe Nintendo just doesn't have the bandwidth to support that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah. But that's Phoenix Wright, and then we have one final story before we end the show. We actually got through these relatively quickly. I think we're still at like 45 minutes, so we can wrap this one relatively quickly. Nintendo of America revealed a new slogan for what looks like their entire brand. This was revealed for a new 2DS commercial that was again announcing that the 2DS was dropping to $80.
Isn't that the real big story there? That it's dropped to $80. I like how we're talking about the slogan, but it was like 2DS price drop is also a story in of itself, right?
Well, I'm the one who would probably need it because I might want to pick up a 2DS later this year for Pokemon purposes, but well, given where I am and given that they're charging $60 for Sun and Moon, this is probably going to be a $20 price increase here.
Right. The problem with the reason this isn't as big an idea as you would think, CJ, is that the 2DS goes for $79 relatively frequently.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I might have to, since my daughter is now interested in the 3DS, every time she opens my Excel, she like bends it back, and I don't like that. So I might actually, like when I heard about this price drop, I was like, oh, maybe I should get her a 2DS so that I don't find my 3DS in pieces.
Giving a kid a handheld system with hinges is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I realize this.
Yes. But anyways, the slogan itself that Nintendo revealed during this commercial for the 2DS price drop, there is no play like it. And I only realized before the show itself that the play on words is that there's no place like it. But I don't think it sounds good. Like I don't have any like greater criticism other than I don't think this sounds good, and there's no play like it. It feels like there's something missing, or that play doesn't belong there, and there should be a completely different word. Something bothers me about this, and I don't know how you guys feel.
It's very punny, right? I mean, it's
not a great pun though.
It's like a dad joke or something.
I think the imagery of it, showing the classic Nintendo controller button alignment before Microsoft screwed it all up, that proves that there's going to be, those buttons are going to be on everything going forward, including the NX. I want to take it that way, even if it may not be true. Mm-hmm. The slogan itself, I'm sure it'll make sense next year, but right now this seems to be more like a get in or get out tier than play it loud tier. We're ranking this thing.
I was actually just listening to this week's Giant Bombcast immediately before the recording of this, and they were talking about the two ways Nintendo names tend to play out. How there's the way the Wii gets received, which is, what is that? And then people care about it for 3 weeks, but then, ultimately it just sticks. And then there's the Wii U, which, as they were saying, and I agree, fast forward to 2016, that name still doesn't sound good. And I'm still very confused as to which side of the divide there's no play like it is going to fall on.
Well, what was the Wii U was, this is where you'll play next, or what was the slogan?
This is where you play next, I think.
Right.
Emphasis on the U.
Right. But not the slogan, but just the name Wii U is just not great. Too. Yeah.
This is slightly better than that, but yeah.
I'd give it a 6 if I had to use the NWR rating scale. I'd give this a 6 out of 10 so far. But it could. Here's the thing. Anything Nintendo does needs time to get you to identify with it, and to get you to understand it, and to get you to accept it as reality. Think of, this isn't Nintendo, but think about the Xbox One naming, where it took people 3 or 4 months to accept Xbox One as the name of that console. But people ultimately did it. I think this is one of those things where they just need to give it time, and they need to present it in the right context.
Yeah, I do like the return to the red, though, that has gone on with their branding. I like that.
It's because there's color. It makes it seem more interesting, CJ.
I agree.
A nice contrast to Xbox One Black and PlayStation Blue as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think that's all the news this week. I think we actually managed to get through all of the news in under 1 hour, which is surprisingly impressive. Get in or get out was pretty good. I'm just reading the chat right now. Anyways,
that was pretty good.
That is our show this week. I want to thank everyone watching/listening. We got the audio version now for watching/listening. I want to obviously thank Donald for joining me. And then I also want to thank our very special guest, CJ, for joining us. Thank you so much, CJ, for being on another episode of Nintendo News Report.
Thank you, Alex and Donald, for having me. This is great.
It was great. Now, CJ, tell us all of the things you need to share with our massive audience.
Well, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at SuperPac. That's PAC at the end there. I don't know how I managed to get that with all the political connotations of that name. I happen to just have that. But you can also find me on the Player One podcast. That's player1podcast.com. And you should buy all the amazing video games from Adult Swim Games. We make mobile games, we make PC games, we're doing console games. You can find out more about that at adultswim.com/games.
Yes, and I should mention as well that we are on Patreon at patreon.com/NWR. We are so close to unlocking the patrons only podcast, so let's get on that. And while you're at patreon.com, you can also head over to patreon.com/P1podcast. Throw CJ a few shekels to keep his show going and keep him rolling in Guitar Hero Live boxes.
There you go.
And Chibi Robo Amiibo, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but patreon.com, P1 Podcast, and NWR. And then Player One Podcast is also on Twitter at P1 Podcast. It is a fantastic podcast. It has been a fantastic podcast for years. It continues to be a fantastic podcast. If you want a multi-platform podcast that appeals to the Nintendo video gamer sensibility, this is one of the better ones, I would say. Because the thing is, a lot of multi-platform Nintendo podcasts, Giant Bomb and CADcast, both two of the best podcasts also, but they don't really get Nintendo all that much, or they do in a weird way that the Nintendo fans don't get Nintendo. Player One Podcast does a much better job of that than most of the other multi-platform shows. So,
well, thank you. I it's probably because of me.
It's I mean, Phil
I'm bringing up the Nintendo stuff all the time. Yeah.
It's true. You're because Phil kind of pulled away a little bit, and then Greg he likes Nintendo, but he's kind of more of an Xbox guy.
Yeah.
Greg's more of a Sega guy. Let's
yeah.
Which actually still might have some overlap with the audience of people watching this now. But anyways, Player One Podcast, cool stuff. Donald's on Twitter at DonaldMick, DonaldMick. I am on Twitter at CULAFIA. That's our show, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.